Hi, I'm going to talk just briefly here in a portable and semi-permanent way about neo-nomadic knowledge construction. In some ways, this is a tandem concept or a parallel concept to Walter Ong's notion of secondary orality. It was Ong, if you recall, was the person who indicated that sometimes new media can have the effect of retrieving a previous era of human culture. In his case, he called attention to the retrieval of our oral past, and in my case, I'm calling attention to the retrieval of our nomadic past. So this is a bit of a background startup here, but the title is Wanna Wikiup, and this refers to not only wikis, a sort of online structure, but also to the Wikiup, the Native American or American Indian structure that is, again, nomadic. But the point I'll be making throughout this presentation is that this represents a kind of analogy for the type of knowledge construction practices we're now seeing emerge through the effect of digital media, and particularly through the advent of practices that are now being called Web 2.0 or social computing. So I'm going to explore this analogy a little bit through this presentation. The pictures you see on this particular slide are on the left an engraving, I believe it is, of a Wikiup from Kickapoo, Oklahoma from 1880. And on the right, you see a kind of uncannily similar type of structure that exists inside a fairly high-tech part of the main library at North Carolina State University. So it's kind of interesting to me that this is somewhat of a visual analogy to accompany the analogy I want to make, again, between the sort of construction of semi-permanent, carefully constructed, yet semi-permanent habitations, and I want to compare that to the construction of similarly careful constructions of semi-permanent knowledge. This slide in a way illustrates what I'm trying to avoid as my starting point, and that is the kind of ocean of software options that might be associated with Web 2.0. It can be a fairly dizzying array of options, and so I want to take a slightly different focus to sort of get at the kind of foundational or geomorphic aspects of this cultural change. So these are the factors that I've kind of identified as cultural characteristics that associate with again what we're calling Web 2.0 or social computing. That it's highly social, it's highly autonomous, choice-driven, desire-driven, focused on content creation. I think these are all very important, as are other characteristics that other content creators are calling attention to right about now. The two I really want to focus in on, though, are the last two that have to do with knowledge construction practices, including bricolage, the concept that was, I believe, created by Claude Lévi-Strauss, the anthropologist, to describe a kind of, again, careful and very purposeful type of assembly of various and disparate items into coherent meaning. And of course, the one I'm focusing on most of all is the kind of nomadic or temporary characteristic, in this case again referring to careful construction of semi-permanent types of knowledge or knowledge structures, sort of being able to take the kind of technological tools at hand and quickly, fairly quickly at least, assemble a kind of community of interest and assemble a kind of nomadic village, if you will, to learn about particular things. So that's what I think we're looking at with Web 2.0 and what we're looking at with the behavior of people who are very active on the internet. I think it's characterized by this type of careful yet only semi-permanent kind of assembly of a kind of village or settlement, and then a kind of full understanding that this is probably not going to be a permanent site, or we're not going to drag in bricks and mortar and build something here, but more that something would be assembled and then disassembled, and again carefully disassembled and carefully reassembled at another site. So in some ways, we're talking about a wiki of one's own. I think I want to avoid also the kind of dualism of saying that this era we live in with digital media in particular is only highly individual or only highly social. I think what's interesting about it is that it tends to be only both highly individual and highly social. For a long time, it's been striking me that we are kind of flummoxed by the sort of both andness of this, and wanting to emphasize one or the other. Currently, we're emphasizing the social computing side of the internet, etc. But I think it also has to go hand in hand with the individual nature of what's going on at present. So part of the picture is a wiki of one's own. And the other part is that it clearly takes a village. So obviously, what people are doing is in a highly individual way, being again driven by choice and desire, etc., to form nomadic villages and build nomadic knowledge structures to basically accomplish their work. So the idea is the individual in relation to others for particular, perhaps temporary purposes related to knowledge construction. With this, I guess for me, a kind of culminating kind of image or emblem, if you will, of Web 2.0 or the current era we're in. The kind of idea of an extended nomadic village. It gets very paradoxical when you start to think about nomadism and using local materials to make things. And it's seemingly pretty clear that most people now, when they go to make knowledge, they reach for Google and things like that, which are of course global and give real concrete meaning to Marshall McLuhan's notion of the global village. When we're constructing these villages or nomadic settlements that could be composed of widely distributed individuals and bits of knowledge, etc. So the resources and the individuals in these kind of learning ecologies may be widely distributed again. Yet I think this is the kind of image of unity that we're looking at. So this is the sort of conclusion of this short presentation. Just again wanting to call attention to the ways in which knowledge construction practices can be perhaps insightfully linked to nomadic practices. And this is a presentation by Bob King. I am an instructor at the North Carolina School of the Arts, and I hope you enjoyed it.